Number 1. Before a B cell can be activated by a helper T cell, the B cell must phagocytize and process the same antigen and activated the helper T cell. The antigen binds to a B cell receptor, and both the receptor and antigen are taken into the cell by endocytosis. Number 2. The B cell uses an MHC class II molecules to present the processed antigen to the helper T cell. Number 3. The T cell receptor binds to the MHC class II or antigen complex. Number 4. There is co-stimulation of the B cell by CD4 and other surface molecules. Number 5. There is co-stimulation by interleukins or cytokines released from the helper T cell. Number 6. The B cell divides and resulting daughter cell divides and so on, eventually producing many cells. Only 2 are shown here that recognize the same antigen. Number 7. Many of the daughter cells differentiate to become plasma cells, which produce antibodies. Antibodies are part of the immune response that eliminates the antigen. Adaptive immunity. Antibody-mediated immunity. Antibodies are proteins. The variable region of antibody combines with the antigen. The constant region activates, complement, or binds the cell. 5 classes of antibodies: IgG, 1GM, IgA, IgE, and IgD. Antigen binding site, we have heavy chain, light chain. Complement binding site, we have site of binding to macrophages, basophils, and mast cells. In the right, we have variable regions of light and heavy chains. To the lower portion, we have constant regions of light and heavy chains. Classes of antibodies and their functions. First, we have antibody IgG. Total serum antibody percent is 80 to 85. Description is activates, complements, and promotes phagocytosis, can cross the placenta and provide immune protection to the fetus and newborn, responsible for Rh reactions such as hemolytic disease of the newborn. IgM 5 to 10% activates, complement, and acts as an antigen binding receptor on the surface of B cell, responsible for transfusion reaction in the ABO blood system, often the first antibody produced in response to an antigen. Antibody IgA. Total serum antibody is 15%, secreted into saliva, into tears, and onto mucous membranes to provide protection on body surface, found in colostrum and milk to provide immune protection to newborns. Antibody is IgE. Total serum antibody is 0.002, binds to mast cells and basophils and stimulates the inflammatory response. And last, we have antibody IgD. Total serum antibody is 0.2%, function as antigen binding receptors on B cells. Antibody-mediated immunity. Antibodies affect the antigen in many ways: bind to the antigen and interfere with antigen activity, or bind the antigens together. Increase phagocytosis by binding to the antigen and to macrophages, and can activate complement through the classical pathway and attach the mast cell or basophils and cause the release of inflammatory chemicals when the antibody combines with the antigen. First, we have A. Inactivate the antigen. The antibody binds to an antigen and inactivates it. B. Binds antigen together. Antibodies bind several antigens together. C. Activates the complement cascade. An antigen binds to an antibody. As a result, the antibody can activate complement proteins which can produce inflammation, chemotaxis, and lysis. D. Initiates the release of inflammatory chemicals. An antibody binds the mast cell or basophil. When an antigen binds the antibody, it triggers the release of chemical that cause inflammation. And last, we have E. Facilitates phagocytosis. An antibody binds to an antigen and then to macrophage, which phagocytize the antibody and antigen. Antibody production. The primary response results from the first exposure to an antigen. B cell form plasma cell which produce antibodies and memory B cell. The secondary response results from exposure to an antigen after primary response. Memory B cells quickly form plasma cells and additional memory B cells. Primary response. The primary response occurs when a B cell is first activated by an antigen. The B cell proliferates to form plasma cell and memory cell. The plasma cell produces antibodies. For the secondary response occurs when another exposure to the same antigen causes the memory cell to rapidly form plasma cell and additional memory cells. The secondary response is faster and produces more antibodies than the primary response. Here's a video explaining the monoclonal antibody production. Cell-mediated immunity. Cell infected with intracellular microorganism process antigens that combine with MHC class I molecules. Cytotoxic T cells are stimulated to divide, producing more cytotoxic T cells and memory T cells when MHC class I or antigen complex are presented to T cell receptors. Cytokines released from helper T cell also stimulated cytotoxic T cells. Cytotoxic T cells lyse virus-infected cells, tumor cells, and tissue transplants. Cytotoxic T cell produce cytokines which promotes phagocytosis and inflammation. First, we have an MHC class molecule displays an antigen such as viral protein on the surface of a target cell. Second, we have activation of cytotoxic T cell begins when a T cell receptor binds to the MHC class I or antigen complex. 3. There is co-stimulation of the cytotoxic T cell by CD8 and other surface molecules. 4. There is co-stimulation by cytokines such as interleukin-2 released from helper T cells. And last, we have 5. The activated cytotoxic T cell divides and the resulting daughter cell divides, and so on, eventually producing many cytotoxic T cells. Only 2 are shown here that recognize the same antigen. First, we have activation of cytotoxic T cell by antigens on the surface of a cell, followed by T cell and cytotoxic T cell, memory T cell, and release cytokines, contact killing, inflammation, phagocytosis, activate T cell, and target cell, cytotoxic T cell, and last we have lysis of target cell. Here's a video explaining the cytotoxic T cell activity against target cells. Immune interaction. Innate immunity, antibody-mediated immunity, and cell-mediated immunity can function together to eliminate an antigen. The active immunity is defined as immunity to a pathogen that occurs following exposure to said pathogen. When B cell encounter a pathogen, they create memory cell in addition to antibodies. Memory cells are a type of B cell produced following a primary infection that can recognize the pathogen. While the passive immunity is protection from a disease provided by antibodies created outside of the body. The lymphatic system interactions. These are the lymphatic system interaction and immunity in the different organ system, namely integumentary system, skeletal system, muscular system, nervous system, endocrine system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, digestive system, urinary system, and last we have reproductive system. Their immune cell and chemical provide protection against microorganisms and toxin and promote tissue repair by releasing chemical mediators. And in the right side, we have effect of other system on the lymphatic system and immunity. First, we have integumentary system, form barrier to microorganism, then dendritic cell detect foreign substance. Next, we have the skeletal system. Lymphocytes are produced in red bone marrow. Lower ribs protect the spleen. Next, we have the muscular system. Skeletal muscle pump helps move lymph through lymphatic vessels. Next, we have the nervous system. The nervous system stimulates and inhibits immunity in ways that are not well understood. Next, we have the endocrine system. Thymosin is necessary for immune cell T cell maturation in the thymus. Hormones affect immune cell functions. Next, we have the cardiovascular system. Receive lymph from tissue, move immune cell and chemicals to site of infection, deliver oxygen, nitrogen, and hormones, remove carbon dioxide, waste products, and toxins. Next, we have the respiratory system. Provide oxygen and remove carbon dioxide, helps maintain the body's pH. And next, we have the digestive system. Provides nutrients and water. Next, we have the urinary system. Remove waste products, help maintain the body's pH, ion, and water balance. And last, we have the reproductive system. Blood test barrier insulates and protects sperm cell from the immune system.